Let's create a budget. Let's get out of debt. Let's build wealth. Guys, welcome back to the channel. So in the last video, we did quite a video on budget. So if you haven't watched that one yet, make sure you go and check that one out. So in this video, we're going to talk about parking cash. So, we've kind of went over velocity banking, the effects that certain things has on it, our human emotion, and that we need to set goals, and how a budget is a driving force. So parking cash is kind of basically, how does it work? How do you do velocity banking? To do velocity banking, it's pretty simple. The concept in itself is really easy to do. So let's assume that you have two accounts. You have your line of credit and you have your checking account. So once you have your line of credit, technically you have two accounts here. And it's all about, you look at, once you have a line of credit, it works similar to a savings account as far as transferring in and out. In most cases, you might have to do some research. In most cases, it's pretty instant. You can transfer at 2 a.m. and it's instantly in your checking account, or you could transfer back to the line of credit 4 a.m. and it's back in the line of credit. So, again, do your research on that, but most lines of credits is pretty instant. So if it's instant, right? So you look at both of these accounts and you got to think to yourself, all you got to think is which one is doing a better job for me. So let's say you have a car loan, and let's say you owe $5,000 on that loan. So a lot of people look at this and say, okay, I have debt, but you could technically look at this as three different accounts that you own, right? So, if you have $5,000 available on the line of credit, you have zero in your checking account and you owe $5,000 on the car, or if you have $5,000 in your checking account, you owe $5,000 on the car and you have zero in your line of credit. You look at this, the way to look at this is you technically have three different accounts, right? And you have a total of $5,000 in cash. Okay, so now you have three accounts, you have $5,000 in cash. All you got to do is figure out which of these accounts to hold this cash in. So let's say we put this cash into the car loan. So our first option, put it in the car loan. If we put this cash in the car loan, so now we just look at the alternatives. What's the alternatives? Well, the alternatives is, in this account, the rules and restrictions of this account is, once you put cash into it, you cannot take cash back out of it. So if we're trying to decide where to put this $5,000 we have, if we put it in the car loan, it means we can no longer take it out. And let's assume that, we're paying a certain amount of interest on this car loan. Now we put the $5,000 in there, we owe zero. Understand that. Now let's look at the other two accounts. So if we look at the checking account, we have $0 in there. We don't owe anything. But in the line of credit, we will be owing daily on the balance in that line of credit. So that means if we take from one, we have to put it into the line of credit, and that line of credit is going to charge us a daily interest rate. Now, if something happens, we have zero cash left. We're going 30 days, we have zero cash left. It's probably not the best option to put it in the car loan, in the fact that, it is good that we won't be paying that principal and interest no more. It's fine, we don't have any in the checking account. This $5,000, if it's not sitting in the line of credit, the rules and restrictions say, if this $5,000 is not sitting in here, then you're going to owe daily on this line of credit. And that daily, it doesn't care how much money is in there. It's just whatever part of this $5,000 that's taken out of that line of credit, you're going to owe on. And the car rules and restrictions is saying, regardless of what you have in this, you're still going to pay a set amount. It doesn't matter if it's $1,000 or $5,000. You owe a set amount every month, regardless of what it is, and it's separated into principal and interest. And the checking account, there's no rules or restrictions. You can take it out or put it in there, and it's not going to cost you anything. And the interest is useless because it's basically 0.01%. So if we stick it in the car loan, it's not bad. It's just if something happens or anything else happens, we don't have any more money left. We have no emergency backup here. If we move it to the checking account, right, the rules and restrictions say, hey, you don't owe anything, you're not going to get anything. It's just sitting there. So we look at our other two accounts. Okay, this $5,000 is not worth $5,000 because we're going to have to pay on the car loan. We're going to have to pay interest. And in the line of credit account, we're also going to have to pay interest. So if you're saving money, if you're a saver, and if you look at it this way, it never makes sense to keep money in a checking account. Like, there's no sense in it. Now, if we're looking at this straight from a mathematical point of view, or if you're looking at it kind of a safety view, then yeah, you got some backup there. You can divide this up, maybe 1,000 in each, but mathematically, it would make no sense to leave it in the checking account, as you got two other accounts that's just draining that 5,000 out of it. The rules on these accounts, the car loan and the credit, there is a minimum payment, so you have to put some money. And if you left that in the checking account, you're slowly draining it to where there's nothing, and you're still going to owe on the car loan and the line of credit once that 5,000 is fully drained. Now, if it was in the car loan, at least, it's not draining. It's only draining from one account, which is the line of credit, and the checking account ain't being affected. So technically, you'll still eventually end up owing more than 5,000, but it's not going to be as bad as if it's just sitting in a checking account. So as far as the checking account, we're going to rule that out. That's just the worst possible option out of these. So now we look at the line of credit. So we have the 5,000 in the line of credit, and okay, if we put it in the car loan, we're still owing the line of credit daily. You don't want an interest compounded daily versus an amortized if that compounded daily interest is maxed out. So by putting the 5,000 in the line of credit, this rules and regulations is you can still take it back out. So in the car loan, once you put it in there, you cannot take it back out. So if we put the 5,000 in the line of credit first, we can then turn around, take that 5,000 out and put it on the car loan. And technically, you could kind of pay both of these. You're still going to owe max credit on the line of credit, but the difference is it's revolving. So as extra cash come into your account, you can put it in there. And that means, like, if you have your other bills, right, you have your utilities, you have basically your monthly expenses. If we put the 5,000 in the car loan, then we can't pay our monthly expenses every month. If we had a monthly expense that was coming up after this, and we put that cash in the car loan, the rules on that loan says once you put it in there, you can't take it out. So if you do mathematically and you start to think, and you say, okay, so you're telling me that if I can stick the 5,000 in the line of credit, and then if I take it back out of the line of credit, I can put cash in there and reuse it again? Yeah, so, and you're telling me that I'm charged daily? A light bulb will go off in your head and say, okay, well, I'll just pay the car loan off and all my expenses money. I'm just going to stick it in the line of credit. So if my expenses came out at 4,000, I can stick that 4,000 as line of credit, and I will only be paying 1,000 daily. So you're not paying the max amount daily, which instantly lowers that credit. So even if your credit was, say, 10 or 15% interest rate on 5,000, that's a lot of money, but 10 to 15% interest rate on 1,000 is significantly less. So, when you're looking at velocity banking, you're looking at parking cash, think of all of whatever you have, your income, your expenses, your loans, and your accounts. If you think of it all as all of them are just accounts, and all of them has rules and restrictions, you know, then naturally someone's going to sit here and eventually figure out that, oh, it's all about the rules. It's all these accounts are about the rules and restrictions on the account and what you can and cannot do. And by being able to have the flexibility of a revolving account, being able to put money in an account and only being charged daily on however much that money is, you could technically, and with, like I said earlier, with you being able to transfer between these accounts no matter what time of day it is, and it be instant transfer, wow, you can keep money up here up until the day something is due and keep that line of credit as low as possible and maximize, you know, the interest rate. You can make sure that you're paying the lowest possible interest on that rate. So guys, once you understand that it's all about, and if you think about it, it's really irony, right? Because money is not made to stay stagnant. It's meant to flow. That's the whole point. That's why it's called cash flow, because it's moving. And being able, you know, if you stick that cash into a amortized loan, it's no longer moving. That cash is dead. You can't move it anymore. And that defeats the whole purpose. That in its very nature, and the fact that understanding how to manipulate interest rates, you're going to want a revolving account, because a revolving is moving. You're able to move and keep it moving. You know, it flows into the checking account, flows out of the checking account, flows into the line of credit, flows out of the line of credit, flows into the amortized account, and it's stuck. So you never want your cash to go on amortized except for the minimum you have to pay. You know, you want to be able to utilize a cash flow moving account. It's always going to be the better choice. So guys, I hope you found value in this video. If you did, I would appreciate a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video.